Good morning, everybody. This is MJ, and welcome to our Thursday training broadcast. I hope you're having a fabulous week and that you are gearing up for an even better weekend. So today we're going to be talking about the real reason that so many boutiques are closing their doors. And what reminded me of this topic, or what brought this to mind, is that I saw one of many ads that usually flow through my news feed that talk about a store or a shop having to close down, and that's why they're putting everything on sale. Now, what I realized after seeing so many of these, that this idea of a boutique closing down, when they put it in an ad, it is a marketing ploy, right? It's not that everybody all of a sudden is shutting their doors, right? All of them use the same exact language to get your attention at the top of the ad. Talking about, unfortunately or sadly, I'm closing my collection because, and then they go into this explanation. And so I usually roll my eyes at it because it's like, okay, yeah, right. You and everybody else is using this ploy of pity to get people to shop at your sale. But what drew me to this one is that some of the verbiage at the bottom actually reminded me of some of the things that I usually talk to you guys about when it comes to preparing to have a successful boutique. This particular person sells items that are geared towards healthcare providers, I think nurses and doctors. And it says, sadly, I'm closing my collection for healthcare providers. A few months ago, she decided to pursue her dream of running a small boutique, but then she found out that being a full-time nurse and running an online boutique is nearly impossible. This is her words, not my words. So she's putting her dream to rest and closing out her remaining pieces. Now, before I get into the rest of her ad, I just want to talk about that. So the part we just read. So this person is obviously a full-time nurse. And that's, again, if we're to believe that this ad is not just all a marketing ploy. She's a full-time nurse. And she said a few months ago, she decided to pursue her dream. Now, what I know about what it takes to actually run a successful online boutique, if she just decided to do this a few months ago and she's already giving up, that means she skipped a bunch of steps and probably went right to buying inventory, getting a website, and jumping out there, because it takes more than a few months to adequately prepare for real entrepreneurship where it's going to be full-time and long-term, and then to actually get launched. So if she only decided a few months ago and then she's already quitting, the reason why she's quitting is obviously because it didn't work out. And we're going to talk about the reasons that she gave in her ad, but also because she didn't do enough preparation. I know she didn't, because if it's only been a few months and she's already quitting, she jumped right out there where everybody makes the mistake, buying inventory, setting up a website. And if you want to know why that's a mistake, you have to watch a bunch of my other videos, because we don't have time to get into the details of that. But a few months is not enough time to have launched a boutique, already seen it's not successful, and quit if you prepared correctly. If you don't, then yeah, that's how it happens. She said being a full-time nurse and running an online boutique in her mind is nearly impossible. Again, that's if you just jump out there half-cocked and you don't have a plan, you don't have a strategy, you don't have any guidance, you don't know what you're doing, you're just making it up as you go along. Now, I won't lie. Being a full-time nurse, they work a lot of hours. It's a lot of exhausting work, and trying to run a boutique on the side, that must have been a lot. It is a lot. However, it is doable, because very few people have the ability to quit their job the day they launch their online boutique. Yet people are able to do it and get to the place where they can quit their job. So there has to be more to it than just, well, it's a full-time job and running a boutique, it's not possible. It's not impossible at all, but you have to have a strategy. You have to be following a step-by-step approach. You have to be doing things in the right order. And you can't just be throwing money at the problem, buying things because somebody somewhere else did it, and you just think that's going to work for you, right? You have to have a plan. You have to have a business plan, and it can't just be for the business. It also has to be for you making your big leap from employment to entrepreneurship. And it also has to be a plan for how you're going to sustain yourself as an entrepreneur and be successful. That's what your true business plan needs to involve. You can't just jump out there with a full-time job, just hoping for the best and crossing your fingers. Here's something else that jumped out to me from her email. She's putting her dream to rest and closing out her remaining pieces. So again, remaining pieces, meaning she just jumped out there, bought a bunch of stuff, crossed her fingers, and hoped that everybody's going to run to her website. But she says she's putting her dream to rest. Here's what I know to be true about entrepreneurship. It is a long I won't, you know how they say when someone's conning somebody, a con artist, they say it's a long con, which means it's something that's set up over years and years, and it takes a long time to get your mark to fall for the roost. Entrepreneurship is a long game as well. So if your dream can't outlast a few months of no success, or let's say of no money coming in, because success is anytime you're moving towards your goal. So I think she was successful in that she even started, right? But she's putting her dream to rest after a few months of not getting what she wanted. And I'm here to tell you, as an entrepreneur, you can't quit after a few months. You can't give up or put your dream to rest. She didn't even say on hold. She said put it to rest. So for whatever reason, if she had a real dream of owning a boutique and she was willing to give up after a few months, she wasn't cut out for entrepreneurship. You have to be willing to deal with a whole lot of no's, a whole lot of spending money on things that even with the best plan, and sometimes it doesn't work out, of trying different things and it not working. You got to have more grit and tenacity than to last a few months, or you may as well just stay at your job, right? So she gave up on that and she's closing out. Again, I will say this again because I see this type of verbiage in ads all the time. It's a type of marketing ploy. Somebody's out there teaching people to tell in their ads that they're closing out their shop to get people to jump and run and buy from them. Meanwhile, they probably open up under a different name. Be that as it may, I know a lot of you are thinking about giving up on your dream for similar reasons. That's why I'm talking about this woman's ad. Okay, let's go on into ad. She says, this has been a challenging and disheartening experience. Again, she is still focusing on herself. Nothing in here is about the customer. Nothing in here is about why she should buy. Why I should buy from her. What is it going to do for me? I don't, as a customer, I don't care about her giving up on her dream. I don't care about it being hard to run a business. I'm worried about what do you sell and why should I want it? And I'm sure it was shown in her picture, right? But that's not enough. If you're trying to connect with an audience and get them to spend money with you, you need to be talking to them about what's in it for them. Not looking for a pity party. This ad is wildly inappropriate, I believe. Although they do work to get people to click, it certainly stopped and got my attention, but it was only because I wanted to talk about it in this space, not because I wanted to buy her stuff. I didn't even click on the link to go shop with her. Talking about what's in it for her. I don't have my dream. I'm giving up. It's impossible. Let's talk about, she has 3 bullet points beneath the few hard takeaways that she's listing here. The first one, e-commerce is not a side hustle. She thought being a registered nurse had long hours, but opening a boutique has long hours. Now she's having to answer customers, package orders, and all that after work. And I'm like, yes, you should have done a reality check before you started. You need to do a reality check. It's not easy. Everybody wants to think about the $1 million in 90 minutes woman, but you don't know all the work she had to do to get to that phenomenal launch that she experienced, the crayon case lady, right? E-commerce is not a side hustle, but while you are working it on the side, it's going to be long hours. But the thing is, you can shorten that time. You can do anything temporarily because you know it's going to end, right? You can do anything that's difficult for a long period of time, or for a short period of time, such as being pregnant. Now, if you knew you had to be pregnant the rest of your life and maybe get a baby right before you die, I know that's a ridiculous example, but you wouldn't do it probably because that's a long time to be uncomfortable and feeling fat and feeling ugly and pain and all the stuff we go through as pregnancy, but it's only 9 months. So we do it over and over again, right? You can go through anything for a temporary time when you know it's going to end. And so the long hours will be there. But if you have a strategy and an approach and you know, well, now I need to do this. And then after I do this, I do this. And I don't have to worry about what I'm going to do 6 months from now. I'm just going to focus on this because my coaches told me the exact things I need to do and in the right order, step by step. You can survive that. E-commerce is challenging, but you have to look at also what's your reason for doing it. Are you trying to free yourself from a job that is soul crushing, that's demoralizing, that underpays you, that overworks you? Which hard work do you want? You're going to have hard work no matter what you do in life, unless you're living off of somebody else. So which one do you want? The long work where you get to choose, or the long work where somebody else gets to choose for you? The long work where your income does not have a ceiling or a cap on it, or the one where your employer gets to decide how much your hard work is worth every 2 weeks? You have to choose that. But she's right. It's not meant to be a side hustle long term, but it is meant to be a side hustle temporarily so that you can create something where you can go full time. There's never going to be a day where you go from working your job only to working your boutique only. Again, unless you have someone supporting you financially, or you have a large nest egg that can survive, to help you survive a year and a half while you get your business off the ground. All right, that's her first bullet point about her hard takeaways from this experience. Number 2, she said advertising is hard. After spending the remainder of my budget on paid advertising, I have yet to turn a profit. Bingo! Duh! Most small businesses are undercapitalized in the beginning. Somebody convinced you can start a business with $1,500. And we're talking about specifically retail boutiques, ones that are going to make you enough money to quit your $50,000, $60,000 a year job, or even if you make less than that. It's not true. You need lots of capital. You need to be spending money on advertising, and not having a sufficient marketing budget is what pulls new businesses under. You put all this time into your product and your storefront, but then you have nothing set aside to get people to see it. You're going to need to spend a lot of money on advertising. You can't spend enough time on social media talking to your friend list and thinking people are going to support you enough. You need to reach out to strangers, right? And paid advertising is that. Do not believe people that tell you can get rich in your boutique not paying for advertising. It could take 10, 15 years. If you got that kind of time, cross your fingers, maybe you'll get there. Good luck. But for those of you who are trying to get out of your job in the next year or so, maybe year or two, you need to be spending money to attract customers. Why do you think McDonald's and Coca-Cola, Nike, and all these major brands advertise in magazines and on billboards and on commercials? They do that to help them become those big names and to continue to be those big names. And if companies like that need advertising, what makes you think as a new brand that you can somehow circumvent that and get away with everything being free? If you want the lifestyle of your dreams, you need to get away from that something for nothing mentality, Black woman. We need to realize we have to sow in to get something out. And that includes, and most importantly, in your business. You're not going to get this huge payday for free. MJ would not lie to you. I'm telling you the truth. Everybody else is just trying to get your $1.99 for whatever little something that they're selling. These business gurus out here trying to sell you a dream for nothing. It does not work that way. And so if you're trying to be successful, you're going to spend money. I'm talking about thousands of dollars, and that needs to be okay. Get your business capitalized. Get that money. Pull it from your resources. Don't expect someone to invest in your business when you're not willing to. If $10,000 seems like a lot of money to invest in your business, first of all, it's not. But then why would a bank want to give you $50,000 if you think $10,000 of your money that you have in a savings account or in your 401k is too much to spend? If you don't want to risk it, why should somebody else risk it on your behalf? Okay. So yes, advertising is hard. It's not just hard, it's expensive, but you want the payday, you want the 6-7 figure lifestyle. You just put the money in. You put something in, you get something out. That's how it works. Okay. And then the last bullet point that this woman's ad has is customers can be nasty. It says a package gets lost in transit. That's no excuse to attack someone for a lack of character and ethics. Yes, she's right. Customers can be nasty. Customers can be demanding. They can be all kinds of things. They can be unfair. Guess what? They're spending their money with you. That's how they feel they can behave. You're choosing to be in a boutique. And just because you are a class act, just because you carry yourself with grace and dignity does not mean your customers are going to do the same. Don't expect them to. Do not expect them to carry themselves the way you carry yourself. They're going to expect them to behave poorly. And instead of reacting to it after it happens, be proactive, expect it to happen, and put things in place for how to respond. Put things in place to make it to where they won't behave that way because your customer service is so on point. So often people start these boutiques and all you're thinking about is your point of view. I want to make money. I want you to buy this from me. But you don't look at it from the buyer's standpoint. How can you make their experience transacting business with you as smooth as possible? If you looked at it from their standpoint, you could see easily places where you can improve right out the gate. As a new business, you cannot afford to have bad customer service. You cannot afford to be understaffed. I know you think you can't afford to hire people. In the beginning, you can't afford not to because of things like well, the package getting lost in transit. It sounds like that's up to the shipper, but maybe she didn't put insurance on it. Maybe she chose a low quality shipment option because she's trying to save money on shipping instead of offering better shipping options and just putting those costs into her pricing. I don't know, but your customer service has to be on point, even more so, especially as a Black-owned business, because a lot of times people have this often untrue and definitely always unfair stereotype that Black-owned businesses are subpar, substandard. They sometimes are, but so are white-owned businesses, so are Asian businesses, so are Hispanic businesses. Many times Black-owned businesses are tip of the top, as well they should be. But because you're operating from a framework of people thinking that your business is substandard, you have to do better. Be the best you can be. Provide black tie experiences, whether they're spending $5 with you, $50, or $500. You have to have that work in. But if you're beginning your boutique in a way where all you got, I've got money to buy inventory and put up a website and that's it, and you have no idea about your infrastructure, you have no idea what you're going to do when things go wrong with an order, when things go wrong with the shipment, when things go wrong during the financial transactions on your website. If you have not thought that through and decided, what are my policies? What are my procedures? What are my processes? How do I handle these situations? That's when it's going to turn into a nightmare that's going to be difficult for you to work on after you get off from a 40, 50-hour work week, after you dealt with the kids, after you dealt with your spouse. It's a lot, and it's doable. It's doable, but you can't do it winging it. You can't do it I'm just going to handle it as it comes up. That's bull. That is bull. That's how you handle a hobby gig. That's how you handle a side hustle. I'll just deal with it as it comes. If you're trying to build a boutique to create a $100,000, $250,000 revenue stream starting out, you need to have better things in place beforehand. That's the biggest, if I could tell you anything of any value, the biggest tip I could give you is you need to do this stuff in advance. Quit jumping out here spending $7,000, $8,000 on inventory. You have no idea how to run a business, and you don't know how to run a business. That is the most arrogant. Now I'm getting ready to get on my soapbox. The arrogance of my sisters. I'm speaking to you as one of you. To think that you can figure out this kind of business on your own when you could not figure out going to college on your own. You could not figure out your finances on your own. You could not figure out how to buy a home on your own. And you got help. You get a realtor. You get an accountant. You get H&R Block to do your taxes. That you think that somehow you're going to figure out. I'll just figure it out. I'm just going to Google it. That's arrogant. At best, it's naive. At the worst, it's arrogant. And it's dangerous. That's why so many boutiques are closing their doors, because they jump out there half-cocked, no plan, no idea what they're doing, and just think you're going to get in on the paydays of these bigger companies out here, or even these smaller companies that you see in your newsfeed. And let me just give you a caveat. Everybody who's running ads on Facebook is not successful. I don't care what their images look like. I don't care what their videos look like. That stuff is free. It's pretty cheap to take pictures of somebody wearing an outfit, right? That doesn't mean they're successful. So don't think because somebody shows up in your news feed, ooh, her boutique, it looks like she's not hardly doing nothing and she's making all this money. You don't, unless you have access to her bank account, don't assume she's making money. At least she's advertising, right? But don't assume people are successful because you keep seeing their names in your news feed. That's just the Facebook algorithm doing what it does. You are in her target market according to what she put in the settings. And so it's going to keep showing it to you as long as she can keep paying. That does not mean she's doing well. Okay, but I'm off my soapbox about the thing that makes you think you can do it yourself. I'm out here because I know you can't do it yourself. I'm out here because I've already put in the 20 years of serial entrepreneurship while I was working a job, trying to figure out how can I work for myself? And falling down over and over. You got 20 years to figure it out on your own? Knock yourself out, sis. But if you want to benefit from somebody's expertise and not having to reinvent the wheel and make the same mistakes, we need to talk, okay? At the end of this woman's ad, it says, anyway, it's time to focus on what I do best. I guess she's talking about nursing. She's never going to forgive herself for giving up on this. Now, she will give herself props for trying, but she didn't really try, because I could pick her ad apart and I could tell that she didn't put in the real work. So if she wanted to actually quit her job, because most people who start a business don't start a business just so they can work two jobs. They start a business so they can work the business and leave the job. So nursing is not necessarily all she does best. She could have done good at this boutique thing, but she didn't get any help. I know she didn't. She didn't get any real help. It's going to help her to stay in business longer than a few months. But she's telling me, I'm going to go back to what I do best. I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want you to get out here, spend thousands of dollars on the stuff in your business and still get stuck in your cubicle, still get stuck working for somebody else, still get stuck pretending like your dream was not your dream. If you want to own your own business, then you should do that. But going about it half-cocked, going about it in a way that's helter-skelter, like you really don't care about the investment, like you really don't care about your time, that's not the right way to approach it. Just like you got your degree, you went to school for what, 2, 4, 5, 6 years? Hey, if you're like some of us, it was longer than that. If you did that to get your degree, to get a job, right? Because that's what degrees prepare you for, to work for someone else. Why won't you put a fraction of that amount of time into your business, learning, not the arrogant, I can do it myself. Sis, that strong Black woman stuff is killing you. It's a lie. It's a caricature. It's a stereotype. And you can defeat that. You can say, I don't know what I don't know. And I need help from somebody like MJ, who can give you the benefit of her 20 years of bumping her head against the wall. You don't have to make those mistakes again. It don't have to take you 20 years. You can do it in less time. You can do it in a year. You can do it in 6 months. You can do it in however long you want to take, but you're not going to just be able to figure it out. I see the stuff out here on YouTube and on Google, what people are selling. And I've just rolled my eyes. If I could roll my eyes 1,000 times, I would, because I know they're giving people a part. They're giving people a fraction of what they need. They're giving them crumbs. They're giving them, as my friend says, kibbles and bits. They're not giving them the full monty. They're not giving them the full steak out here, because nobody gives away the keys to the kingdom for free, right? Now, if you have time, you'll either pay with time or money or both. But you're going to pay. And time is more valuable than money, because you can't get the time back. You can make more money. You can't get the time back. So why not invest the time it takes to learn how to do your business up front, so you don't have to squander months and years on bad business advice and trial and error that gets you nowhere, and throwing good money after bad and all that they say. So if you need help building your business to the 6 or 7 figure level, or at least launching it so it can get to that level, then let's have a conversation. Book your free breakthrough call now at melaniehunter.com/chat. It's a free call, but ma'am, it's going to be the best 45 minutes you have ever spent on your business. I'm not talking about why you were looking for vendors and why you were building your website. I'm talking about 45 minutes that's going to set you up to get the help you need to actually save yourself some time and some money. But you got to make that call. We've got to have a conversation. melaniehunter.com/chat. We're going to take about 45 minutes to look at what you've been doing right and what you've been doing wrong, and how we can get rid of a lot of the wrong and do more right. What's your dream? Where is it you want to go? Why are you starting this boutique? Why does this matter to you? What do you want to be able to make? How much money, right? Because it's about money if you're in business. Whose lives do you want to be able to change? Is it your kids, your parents, your spouse, yours, your community? Why are you doing this? And then we're going to get you started, if we're fit to work together, on building towards that dream the day we talk. Because time's up for continuing to try what's not working. What you're doing is not working. If you want to try something that will work, it starts with a conversation. If you're serious about your business, then of course you would take a free consultation that's going to help you to do things the right way. I'm giving you this time because I want to help Black women like you who are struggling to make ends meet already, which is why you want to own a business. And then the business is struggling. And I want to get you off that struggle bus and get you into your success. So again, book your free breakthrough call with me at melaniehunter.com/chat. Do it now. Fill out the application, and we will have a conversation that's going to change your life, transform your business, and put you on the path to real success and time and income freedom. I look forward to talking to you both again here on these broadcasts the next time I come back, and on your breakthrough call, because that's where your life is going to change. It's been my pleasure to share with you today. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk soon. Take care. Bye-bye.